Morning. Bob Mendes. Question for you. So, outside of Henry Kissinger, the most likely person of all the victims of 9/11 is some guy named John Kevin Anderson. Sheldon Anderson's grandpa on one side and Gerald Robert Ford on the other, also known as the Duke of Essex. 11 Noon Act. What would be having to come clean about this? The same time he's penally penetrating some granddaughter of some guy named Mao Zedong and happens to ask her for marriage, the December right afterwards, in view of the UN security clearance. Now, all of 99, 2000, 01, and 02, hey, Nig, as we'll call it, the way I like to refer to it. Where are his tapes as great-granddad? But the broke library, as I refer to it, and I call it to Mike's face anytime you want to say it, not why Emily, is appointed as a UN order, sir. But when Jimmy is still alive, sir, and the paperwork says that the United States military, Fort Pendleton, Fort Bragg, Division I athlete, 335 pounds, 6'4.5", 5'1", 40-yard dash, 29 times, 770 deadlift, and a 905 squat, isn't good enough to go into the United States Marine Corps or the National Guard. Come holla at me, Nick. Okay? And the Carter's idea of humor is touch James B. Thayer and touch Jimmy. Play a game of euchre. And Kevin's idea is touch Anthony Michael Carter, Senator Dodd, and ask me who I am. To his ego. But, Mr. Mendes, if the grandson and the nephew, John Roberts, and him, compared to Angus, up-and-coming Marco Rubio, isn't the same issue at present, Riot, as saying Mike and Sarah can challenge Whitmer, Aaron and Alyssa, Brock's seat, Brock endorsed, and let's get real, Caleb, hey, Dalton, and Corey and Gabe, y'all kind of live in the same house and are all friends. There's another view, let alone your view. Hey, maybe County. Now, would that have to admit the fault of the Republican part, or whip Republican Party, and where the sweatshirt, sweatpants, the bus video, and the middle school video still available? Let alone, excuse me, hey Nick, Mr. Mendes, in this view, I call Carl Levin that because I've asked him to do this in his lifetime, just like Miss Ginsburg. But Baher Ross credit card in New York, compared to be at a facility, juvenile justice, at the time of development before foster care, and Gerald be put on three-way. But not a reason, sir, for where let's shop around acrylium, iodine, darcidium, selenium, vanadium, nedium, nihomepet, and triethylhexaurites, dilithium, nedium, nihomepet, rhinite, or the lanthanum, monosodium sulfate is subatomized. But that wouldn't be like saying, hey, Spanish people, none of you ran for president, let alone Chief Justice. Hey, ladies, as I'll call it, instead of the other word, and say, no, Madam President, no, Madam Chief Judge. But the okay, I understand that. Adopted BBW cheeks. And you're going to ask me, I'm the State Department telling you your whole life that he's not. And by the grandson not signing the birth certificate, there's no lineage. Now ask that in view of George and say John Rogaman when the DNC wants him to challenge it. But not appropriate, Bob. Yet, can't find any of, his paperwork or videos around 2001. What happens if Jimmy and let's say Nancy ran again? Jimmy and, Amy Gates. Jimmy and Carl Levin. Schumer, what's good, dog? What about you and Ellen? Mr. Mendes, Gerald, and say the Browns. Gerald and Carl. And say I'm a Preston Pence view. What happens if that's that? God call him spick and beaner like G.K. Butterworth has on tape. Wouldn't want to ask James B. Thier why his wife, Sotomayor's sister, and say those aren't appropriate, right? Instead of that word. But Mr. Mendes, to ask any of their family and any of the families in their foundation why the sexual abuse in the first bombing was streamed at a juvenile home and then taped by the Brusachs and via the Mackenzies to how the voting rights of the Pences are wondered wasn't part of the reason why it took so long to get into foster care. It was only noted in the Supreme Court hearing at the time in view of the state. Now, if this was the same reason why Mike wouldn't want his paperwork to be put in during the election, not the reason what Donnie found out when I have to be a witness in a murder and have my brief scan be wondered by the pellet. Now, COVID AIDS, don't ask any bubonic plague sample. Nah. IPO assessment and enough money to donate during the season. Now see that view, bud.